Hi, in this video I'm going to show you how to draw the feathers on this bird, a native New Zealand Kea bird. The feathers are very complex, irregular, so they're quite challenging, or actually very challenging. Not only that, the feathers themselves are not dark, they're a little bit light and they cast lots of shadows, or they have underlayers that are dark. So how do you portray that? Well, I decided to use Staedtler pencils. The Mars Lumograph Black. This set of 6 contains 8B, 7B, 6B, 4B, 2B and HB. I use the HB for areas like here and for all the lighter values. The values that are lighter than that have actually been achieved by using an eraser pen with the help of a blending stump. There are at least 2 different types of feathers, you could say. The type that is relatively open and spread out, and others that are smaller and relatively closed. I'm just going to show you how I draw the feathers that are opened up more, although the same principle applies for the other feathers. That is, first drawing in the pin or center of the feather. Likewise with these types of feathers, I use an HB pencil and fill in the area of the feather. So you can draw in the actual shape of the feather that you want and blend it with a blending stump. That way it can be erased easier as necessary. Unfortunately, there's really no quick way to do this other than to draw in all the dark values and the dark shadows. Here I'm using an 8B to draw in the dark value, wider at the ends and narrower towards the center pin. The darker values tend to be more difficult to erase than the lighter values, so this characteristic can be utilized when wanting to lighten the color of the feather with an eraser pen, while giving the illusion of a silvery feather. Like that. Just remove the eraser crumbs here with a brush. It starts to look better when you use the eraser pen actually. I'll just use a 6B to shade it in a bit. Blend out the edges a little bit. One tricky thing about drawing these feathers is that they interfere with each other. That's when it starts to get complicated. You can't just draw in one feather and move on to the next. You have to draw part of one feather and then part of the next one, and then maybe part of another feather as well, just to make it all come together properly. Don't worry if it doesn't look as good as you had hoped close up. Just step away a little bit like that, then it starts to look pretty good, especially as the jigsaw puzzle starts to fill in, so to speak. I'm starting to do this feather as well, which is a significantly larger one. So I've really got to finish these feathers, this feather, and the feather above in order for these feathers to integrate properly. So that's a bit of work. Here the dark lines of the upper feather cross through those of the lower feather. Add a few highlights with the eraser pen. Here the darker areas come together. I'm going to draw in the darkest value on this larger feather. The dark lines flare out a little bit so that the lighter parts or branches of this feather taper toward the edge of the feather, while also mutually spreading out away from each other. Now I'm filling in the dark areas between the adjacent feathers. Now highlight along the center pin and the branches. I used an HB for the base or underlayer of this feather, which is easier to erase than the much darker 8B. I'll just soften this area with a 6B. I don't want to have this part too well defined. I applied this same method throughout most of the drawing, the main differences being due to the differences in the shapes of the various feathers, as you can see. However, after drawing the center pin for each feather with an 8B, I used the HB pencil to draw the basic shape, drew in the dark shadows to define the branches of the feathers, used an eraser pen to put in highlight while giving the feather a silvery effect. The feathers on the right edge and also around the top of the head don't need to be as well defined, giving an overall 3D effect with the more detailed feathers appearing to be closer than the periphery of the bird. And here we have it, the Kea bird completed. To see a time-lapse version of this drawing from start to finish, click here. To see other related videos, click here. Thank you for watching.